to Book 101 Review. Well, Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a debut author and, of course, a political rethinker and the author of the book Common Ground from the Ground Up. No other than Mr. Nathan Smolensky.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Welcome on Book 101, Mr. Nathan. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
So, I presented myself there as a political rethinker. To talk a little more about what that means, I've spent the last 10 years in around the spaces of bridge building and political innovation. I was the state director of the Florida Forward Party, which is a minor party here in the state of Florida between 2022 and 2024. I've previously worked as an organizer, a communications expert, messaging expert, and volunteer in various fashions at a range of, again, bridge building focused organizations or political reform focused or independent movement focused organizations. And this is my debut book. I've previously written many articles, but it is a debut effort to talk about the power of positive discourse, of productive discourse, and how it can bring about both personal improvement and societal growth.
Mr. Nathan, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. Common Ground from the Ground Up suggests a grassroots personal approach. Why do you believe the solution to our political divides must start at the individual and community level rather than waiting for top down change from politicians?
Right now, the reality of the matter is the incentives within our politics are very much against bridge building, are very much against reaching out and creating healing. Our politics works off of division. Now, whatever you may ascribe that as starting from, whoever you may point to as saying this is the worst case of this divisiveness, or this is the person who started this trend, the reality is it works right now. And in order to build up an incentive against it, you need to fundamentally change the structure of the game. You need to bring in something that is exciting for people, that is not only better, but positioned to work. And at the core of that, I feel one of the best ways we can get there is by building momentum around a societal movement, around a societal way of thinking that is rethinking politics, that is moving away from this conflict mentality and towards something that is more constructive, more collaborative, and more productive.
How does your book encourage us to rethink the very definition of politics to be more about our daily interactions and relationships than what happens in Washington?
Well, I should clarify that a little. When I talk about rethinking politics, it's rethinking our political identities, what these issues mean to us, under being self-aware of how it is that we interact, that we interface with politics. It is rethinking what it means to have someone that we disagree with, realizing that this does not necessarily have to be someone we're fighting against, but this is an opportunity to learn. This is an opportunity to grow. This is an opportunity to expand our ideas and to challenge ourselves. It is realizing that the competitive kind of politics that we see in the electoral arena with people running for office and what we see from media, where they're really incentivized to inflame and energize. This is not how we have to deal with each other. We do not have to be competitive in our approach to politics. We do not have to subscribe to this conflict mindset all the time. And by moving past that, we can experience a kind of political dialogue. We can experience an exploration of difficult societal issues, of difficult topics, sometimes that we may have had trouble discussing before, in a way that is not only healthier, but ultimately allows us to interact and effectively champion our ideas to different audiences and get through to more people than we might have thought possible.
What is the critical difference between feeling heard or being agreed with, and why is achieving the former so essential for healing?
Feeling heard is something we all yearn for. I talk about it a little bit facetiously as the insatiable lust for power that fuels us all. We we want to have impact. We want to have agency. We want to be able to make a difference in our lives and in our world. And that starts with being heard. That starts with the ideas that we have. We can share them. People are going to think about them. They are going to impact people, whether they become policy or whether they are just food for thought that helps others expand their minds. And by realizing the importance of feeling heard, we can take the next step and think about the golden rule. Think about, okay, we want to do unto others as we would want them to do unto us. And realizing from that, if you want the person you are interacting with to open their minds to what you have to say, one of the best ways to ensure that, one of the best ways to encourage that is by opening your mind to what it is they have to say. By making others feel heard, we can then be better heard ourselves.
What does a practical first step look like for someone who wants to bridge a political divide with a family member or friend? How do they even start that conversation?
Take a deep breath, calm down. Sometimes things get heated. Just come in wanting to learn. If you come in wanting to win, you're going to find yourself more often than not in a fight. If you come in looking to learn from someone else, you will find yourself more often than not in a productive conversation and in a positive conversation. Also, be transparent about it. Share why you're doing this and what you're doing. Because sometimes in our current political environment, we're very suspicious of each other. We worry about things being underhanded. We worry about what the other person is really after. Be honest. Share that you're trying to work on the way you approach politics, to work on the way you approach debate and discussion, and that you're trying to be a better listener. And if you do that, well, that can be reciprocated more often than you might think.
A better listener indeed. And Mr. Nathan, what does listening and understanding actually look like in practice when someone is saying something you fundamentally disagree with or find morally objectionable?
So, listening to that, trying to learn can mean a few different things. Trying to learn what it is someone actually believes, why it is they believe that, what resonates with them that drives their beliefs. You have to come in with the mindset that learning any of these things is growth. Learning any of these things is valuable for you and is valuable for you in ultimately becoming the best voice, the best communicator, and the most effective political champion of your own ideas and values and beliefs. So when you run into something that doesn't connect with you, you can be honest about that. But you can take a step back and be self aware about that at the same time. So rather than say, oh, that's stupid, or oh, that's evil, say, well, that doesn't resonate with me, or there's something I'm just not getting. If you have that curious approach, if you have that genuine, all right, I want to understand where it is you are coming from, that can go a long way in making sure the conversation remains civil, in allowing there to be a greater understanding and growth that ultimately comes out of it.
How can we find a focus on shared identities that are more powerful than our political identities?
I don't know if we necessarily need to. When it comes to shared identities, we're all people. That is valuable to know. When it comes to our political identity and moving past that, I don't ask for anyone to give theirs up. I do talk about how politics can turn into sports when it becomes our source of a sense of community, our source of belonging and camaraderie. And it can become religion when it becomes our sense of affirmation, when it becomes our source of telling us we are moral and good people because of our political beliefs. But I don't ask for anyone because these are very hard things to relinquish. What I focus on instead is try to become the best communicator that you can be, and just be aware of when your political identity, when your connection to the politics and the depth of your connection to your politics and your ideas and your beliefs may be holding you back in your ability to reach out and connect with those who think differently.
Mr. Nathan, why is sharing personal stories and experience more effective for finding common ground than debating facts in politics? Or palaces, I should say.
Well, personal stories, we want to have that personal connection. We want, because this is ultimately what we want to be reciprocated, is this genuine connection. We want to help others understand where we are coming from. Then they can understand where we're coming from. We can better understand where they're coming from as they share their own stories, their own journeys. And we can better make sense of what drives different beliefs. And ultimately, we are better positioned through that human connection, to work together in trying to understand how we can bring our beliefs and our ideas sorry, together in fostering the best solutions that we can build.
Mr. Nathan, on the structural and cultural challenges, our media and political systems are often incentivized to amplify conflict. How do we, as individuals, counteract these powerful forces in our everyday lives?
Don't approach it as the inevitable. Don't think of it. We look at growing division. Those of us who have been in this space tend to look at division and hatred, animosity, conflict as these things that are festering, these things we can't control. We need to have, in some sense, more of a business mindset around that. And what I mean by that is look at the opportunities that they create. Yes, it is tragic. It is genuinely tragic that our current politics so fails at creating real solutions. The flip side of that, however, is there is a demand for real solutions. If we can create a resident kind of politics, a resonant kind of public service that brings about real solutions, that offers new ideas, innovative ideas, interesting ideas. There is a demand for that. There is a demand for that being created. People are tired of our division. They are sick of what our politics has become. And there is a demand for something different. If we begin to understand what it is people need and how it is we can build that, many of us can rise up to become the leaders that address this profound need, address this demand, and heal those incentives by issuing what some might phrase as a market correction.
Mr. Nathan, as a debut author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I talk in this book, right in the intro, I talk about the frustration of politics and how difficult it is sometimes to move the needle. This is an effort for me to move that needle. This is a book that is not just an expression of self. This is not my memoir. This is not a purely artistic work that's done for purely the love of art. This is my attempt to make an impact by creating a tool set that not only those already interested in bridge building and healing divisions can enjoy, but something that they can pass along and offer a value add to any relative, any friend who is struggling with their political identity, who is entrenched in conflict and division and this bad side of politics. If this is something that can become a vehicle for change, that is ultimately what I am looking for it to be. And beyond that, it is seeing how it goes, whether hopefully this is able to reach people, doing events in service of this book and in service of these ideas of how we can heal, how we can forge common ground, um, whatever it takes to make that impact, because that right now is my focus, is about showing people not only that we can heal, but that we all win when we do.
Good luck to your goals,
Thank you.
Mr. Nathan, and looking forward for more success and more books for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
My advice for anyone looking to be an author, work on, especially in the nonfiction space, structure your ideas, outline, 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 um, understanding the logical flow of how your ideas interact with each other. Putting yourself in the position of the reader is so valuable in trying to understand the fundamental logic of the arguments you're presenting, or the ideas you're presenting, or the story you're presenting. And for me, I'm always fascinated by how we can bring these ideas together into a message or a story that is powerful, that is resonant, and that is captivating.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Nathan. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
So, as far as influences, I would strongly recommend pretty much anything by Jonathan Haidt, um, particularly The Righteous Mind and um, also a few books that are within my realm. Talking Across the Divide by Justin Lee is another really interesting work that explores specifically tools. Going back to Haidt's work, he just gets at the psychology and the root of our division, at the root of our division, very, very clearly, beautifully, and he brings his expertise and his scientific understanding to really make an incredible case for why we should take on a more heterodox and a more open-minded approach with the world around us.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Nathan. And if you could give our listeners or viewers one simple question to ask someone they disagree with, open a more productive dialogue, what would it be?
Hmm. If I could give one question for them to ask, I would say, who are you trying to reach? And the reason I would say that is because so much of our political messaging and the way that we are accustomed to talking about our ideas and our beliefs is geared towards speaking within our echo chamber, within our bubble, and speaking to those who already are agreeing with us. By understanding that limitation, we can start to expand, okay, how can we make our messaging more resonant? How can we make our ideas more resonant and more able to reach those who are outside of our ideological group?
Mr. Nathan, what is the crucial question we should ask ourselves about our own biases and communication habits before attempting to find common ground with others?
How would we interact with ourselves? What happens if we come in looking to debate? What does it look like to the other person? Would we want someone who acts like we do, espousing our opposite beliefs? How would we respond to that? If the answer is, well, no, I wouldn't like being yelled at, I wouldn't like being scolded or having these facts spouted, however true they may be, well, then we need to ask ourselves from there, are we holding ourselves back because of this conflict mentality and because of our relationship to our political identity?
Very well said, Mr. Nathan. Truly, truly
Thank
empowering.
you. Thank you.
This work is emotionally taxing. How do you prevent burnout to maintain to maintain the energy and hope needed to keep engaging?
That is an excellent question. Um, every interaction, every person I talk to, every positive conversation that I have gives me fuel. Every little reminder that I am doing something positive, that I am reaching someone out there is incredible motivation. I treasure those and I use those. I also do take breaks when I need to, and I've got a lot of other stuff going on in my life. So I certainly recommend that to anyone going through becoming an author, going through promoting a book. It is, as you say, emotionally taxing work at times. Sometimes you do need a break.
You need a break for sure, people. Relax and have a Kit Kat, as they said. And Mr. Nathan, I hope Kit Kat will sponsor my book 101 review. And
I
before
hope
we,
so too.
I hope so. I think, yeah, I will ask my provider. So let's do this then. Before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Nathan, if you book succeeds in its mission? What does a healthier democracy built from the ground up actually look and feel like for the average person?
For the average person, it
Yes.
means being better heard. It means feeling empowered to share your voice. It means having a governance that listens and that appreciates the greater conversation. We are not all fighting to rule and force our ideas upon others. We are sharing our ideas in a common pursuit of the best possible solutions. I believe that is at the root of a democracy in a society that works together. And I believe that is something worth striving toward.
Indeed, Mr. Nathan Smolensky. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your debut book?
Absolutely. Go ahead and check out Common Ground from the Ground Up. It's how rethinking politics can help us feel heard, heal relationships, and fix our democracy. It's available now on Amazon.com and on most major sellers. You can also check out my site at nathansmolensky.com to learn a little more about me.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Nathan Smolensky because if you support him, as I said, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Nathan, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful night.
More to come, people. See you soon.
Bye bye.